Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the South Florida Tribune podcast. My name is Scott Morganroth, and I am pleased to be joined by Gary Kornbluh. Gary Kornbluh has been off for a few months because of obviously open enrollment. This show, before I bring Gary on, will be Annual Election Period 2022. And Gary is obviously proof that our system works, and he'll get into that later in the show. But meanwhile, Gary, welcome back to the South Florida Tribune podcast. Hope you had a good holiday season, and more importantly, hope you were very productive during that time period.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. Yes, I was extremely productive. I had an extremely busy Medicare open enrollment. Remember, that's from October 15th to December 7th. And I'm happy to say that I was actually the top producer. I got the top producer award, and it was presented to me at Mar-a-Lago. And that was for Medicare Advantage sales. So I'm really proud of that achievement, and I bring a lot of knowledge and insight to the table. So happy to help, and thanks again for having me on, Scott. I'm a little rusty, but I'll get with it.
You're never rusty. So before I get into the questions I want to ask you, I want the audience to have an overview as to how long that you've actually been in the business, so that they realize that they're not dealing with just anybody, but they're dealing with somebody who's very experienced and very savvy in this industry.
Thank you, Scott. I've been doing insurance for about 32 years. So I would consider myself a career agent, certainly a senior agent. You can tell by my gray hair, for those that can see me. But yeah, and my specialty really is in Medicare and health insurance. That's really all we do here at medigapx.com. So anything health insurance related in Medicare, we can definitely help with. And again, I've been doing this a long time. You can call me. My phone is always on 24/7. It's 561-305-5949. That's my cell. And I'm probably one of the few agents that boast that I'm available 24/7 and actually are available 24/7. So don't hesitate to call me if you have questions. Whether you end up doing business with me or not, feel free to call me with any questions at all. You can also log on to my website at www.medigapx.com. That's MEDIGAPX.com. You can click on my testimonials tab and see what my wonderful clients have said about me. And there's a lot of good information on my site. So feel free to call me, reach out to me. And of course, always make sure you log on to the South Florida Tribune and make sure you subscribe. That's www.southfloridatribune.com. And they have done a wonderful job for me. I thank them so very much.
And folks, what Gary is referring to with the subscribe button is he's referring to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. So by all means, we have a lot of great shows on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. I'm certainly looking to build a lot more of them as the year goes on. And Gary's certainly been a big beneficiary of that channel, because these shows, folks, just so you know, are simulcast. And I'm going to get to that immediately before we get to some annual enrollment questions. So for a lot of you folks, to give you an overview, if you're listening for the first time, these broadcasts are simulcast, not only on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, but you can find them on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also find them on www.southfloridatribune.com. So for those of you, we're asking you to please subscribe to the South Florida YouTube channel, where you'll have a lot of shows, both sports and non-related sports shows, such as Gary Kornbluh. And again, I want to go over these audio again: Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, and wherever you get your podcasts. And again, reference you to the web page. And I also should point out that we have a big presence on Twitter at Tribune South, though you can track a lot of what we post up there as well. With that said, Gary, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that did COVID have an impact on this annual election period?
Okay, so we're talking about the 2022 annual election period. And of course, that started on October 15th of last year, right, 2021, ended on December 7th. And then those people that enrolled during that time frame their coverage, their plan became effective on January 1st of 2022. So that's why this is for the 2022 annual enrollment period. So your question was, did COVID have an impact on this annual election period? And absolutely, it did. My experience has been, and I feel like this was kind of sort of a tale of two open enrollments. On one hand, and I think the vast majority, because I speak to a lot of other Medicare reps, and they were quite slow this year. And I think it's because of COVID and because of all the uncertainties, I think people were really reluctant to change their plan. Unless, of course, they had to. Let's say their doctor was no longer on their current Medicare Advantage plan. I mean, that would certainly be a reason that they would need to change. Maybe they have to change to a plan that accepts their doctor. But I would say by and large, it was really kind of a slow annual enrollment. And I think that's the main reason, because of this pandemic that we're in right now. I think people are very uncertain. They hear about the hospitals filling up, and you know, it's just, this COVID just has upended so many industries, you know, more particularly the health insurance industry and the medical industry. And I think people were just really reluctant to make a change. I think they kind of took the attitude of, hey, if it's not broken, let's not try to fix it. That's one side. But then the other side is a lot of people, I had a lot of success with the give back programs. Because think about it, you know, the economy is really, I mean, we saw the consumer price index spiked up. It's the highest it's been in almost 40 years. So people are really cost conscious. So these give back programs are very attractive. And I actually ended up doing a lot of these. That was probably the most popular product that I enrolled people in, Medicare Advantage, was this product where you get an X amount of dollars that are actually credited toward your Social Security payment. There's no better time to take advantage of that type of Medicare Advantage account than now, because the government just increased the Medicare Part B premium. Last year, it was $148.50 a month. That's the average cost. Of course, if you're in these higher income levels, you could be subject to what we call an IRMA adjustment. But for the regular folks, it was $148.50. Well, that number went to $170.10. That is quite a jump. So I think that's one of the main reasons why these give back programs were so attractive, because at least it's going to help offset that $170 a month. And maybe the client only has to pay, let's say, $50 or $60 a month net, because they're getting this credit. So it was a very, very popular program. And I think that's the reason why, is because people are so sensitive. The economy is just, you know, we're all faced with higher prices. I mean, we see it when we go to the gas station, we see it when we shop. And to have this additional help was very appealing, this open enrollment. So yeah, so COVID definitely, I think, has had a huge impact on the annual election period for 2022. That's been my observation.
Very good. Okay. Do you think the supply chain issue will affect the health insurance industry in general?
I think it will, and I think it already has. I mean, think about it. I mean, even if you just think about the COVID tests that people are all trying to get a hold of, and the shortages of the availability of these tests, and the fact that everybody's lining up to be tested. So I think, I mean, there certainly is a shortage of COVID test kits, but the supply, yeah. So it definitely has affected the health insurance industry, and of course, you know, so many other segments of the medical industry with regard to just general medical supplies. You know, masks, you know, PPEs, the personal protective devices, and equipment. I mean, I think there has been a general shortage of pretty much everything, you know, from cars to beef to the health insurance industry and supplies. So yeah, I think the supply chain has affected the health insurance industry in a big way. Hopefully, I just, I only wish that all of these people that were in line to get tested, wouldn't it be nice if all those people were in line to get vaccinated or boosted? So I think if we could change the mindset of some of these people, there's been so much misinformation and disinformation out there. If we could change the mindset of these people and get them to wait online for the vaccine, I think we probably would get a much better hold of this virus. But yeah, the short answer is yes. I think the supply chain issue has affected the health insurance industry in a tremendous way, in a bad way, unfortunately.
Okay, so how do we get a copy of our annual notice of change?
So, okay, the annual notice of change. I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. The annual notice of change, otherwise known as the ANOC, ANOC. That is a form that you should be mailed. That should be mailed to you by your current Medicare Advantage carrier. So you get that once a year, right before the annual election period. You get this annual notice of change. So you should get that by mail. That answers that question. If you don't receive it by mail, you can call your carrier and get them to send you out another one. But I'm glad Scott mentioned, because it's a really good tool to use to see if your plan still meets your needs. Because on that annual notice of change, you'll see what your plan looks like now, or for 2021, let's say, and then what changes are taking effect on your plan for 2022 for the following enrollment period. So the way you can get a hold of it, it's supposed to be mailed to you, but if for whatever reason you discarded it by accident, you can always call your customer service number on the back of your card and just order another annual notice of change.
Very good. Are give back programs really any good?
Okay, so back to the give back programs. Yes, I love those give back programs. I think they're tremendous. I actually did them for my parents. That's how valuable I think they are. My parents are consumers too, and they got hit with that Medicare Part B increase too, and I want them to get help too. Just like they're a client, just like all of my other clients. So yeah, these give back programs are real. They're out there, and I think they're tremendous. Now there are some that are better than others. What I've seen is that with a lot of these give back programs, they're increasing if they're giving you a give back, let's say it's anywhere between $100 and $120 per month credited to your Social Security. But keep in mind, there's no free lunch. So a lot of these carriers will take that back elsewhere. Maybe they'll jack the co-payments up for your specialist visit. Maybe they'll jack the co-payments up for your outpatient hospitalization or your inpatient or your urgent care visit. But they will take it back somewhere. There are companies that I work with where they just have, in my opinion, have one of the best give back programs. And I will tell you, it's Devoted is actually one of those plans, because I'm actually, you can see I'm advertising for some of these companies. But without plugging any other companies in particular, I think that was my most common and my most attractive give back program for a bunch of different reasons. But there are plenty of them out there. So talk to your agent. If your agent hasn't offered you the give back program, ask them why. Why haven't you told me about this? Who doesn't need help these days? With $100, credited toward their Social Security premium that's just gone up to $170 a month. Everybody needs help. Okay, so ask your agent maybe to tell you what plans are available, and then you can actually use this OEP. There's another period of time from January 1st to March 31st called the OEP, or the open enrollment period. Just to confuse the matters even more, it used to be called the Medicare Advantage disenrollment period, because this new quarter of 2022 is the time when you can disenroll in a plan if you made the wrong decision during AEP and you need to make a change. Well, this is the perfect opportunity to take advantage of one of those give back programs during this this OEP, this open enrollment. And again, it's from January 1st to March 31st. If you do it during January, your start date is February 1. If you do it during February, your start date is March 1. If you do it during March, then your start date is April 1. But again, this OEP is a great opportunity to take advantage of one of those give back programs.
So Gary, I know
always
this,
call me.
so Gary, I know this is a very popular question these days. So let's just say we don't feel comfortable sitting face to face with a Medicare rep. Is there another way that we can have a meeting with a agent? Would you?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I would say 95% of the business that I did this year because of COVID was remotely, right from my office.
Right.
So there is another way. As long as my client has an email account and they can go to their inbox, as long as they can pull up their an email in their inbox, they can have an agent, a Medicare agent, enroll them remotely. They do not have to sit with a Medicare agent, and they can still get the professional advice and guidance from a Medicare agent such as myself. Because again, it's this e-sign process has become, if you can even imagine, it's become extremely popular during COVID, especially now with this new Omicron variant, because it's apparently very aggressive, and people just don't want to take the chance. So if they can do business with a Medicare agent over the phone, right now, that's the way people prefer to do business. And I love it because I can help so many more people, doing business remotely. I mean, I used to, the old way of doing business was I used to drive to people's homes or their businesses. You don't have to do that anymore, and you can still have a great Medicare agent and sign up for a great plan, and you don't have to meet face to face anymore. So the short answer is absolutely yes, Scott. You can have a Medicare agent and you don't have to sit with them anymore, and you can still get that great service.
So folks, bottom line is you don't have to be face to face with a Medicare rep, and no matter what gas prices are, whether they're $2.50, although that's a dream nowadays, $3, $3.50, $4 a gallon, as long as you have Zoom or whatever types of conferences you have, and you have Google, you're in pretty good shape. But yes, indeed, you don't have to worry about face to face like some of us old school people used to think you can do. That you had to meet everybody face to face, whether it's a Medicare agent and whatnot. So with that being said, we'll segue over to this. So if I choose a plan during the annual election period and I need change the plans, and I am able, are the give back plans available?
So if you choose a plan during the annual election period, and remember that's AEP, that's October 15th to December 7th. So going back to what I said previously, this is a great question because you actually do, and I'm going to reiterate, you actually do have the option to make a change during the first quarter of the year, during the OEP. So again, if you made the wrong choice during the annual election period from October 15th to December 7th, you do have this OEP, this open enrollment period, to even change that plan. If you let's say you found out that your doctor, which you thought was going to be on your existing plan, turns out that doctor's no longer on that plan. That's an opportunity and a reason to change. But again, so is the give back program. If your agent didn't tell you that these give back programs are available, that may be a reason to change too, to take advantage of that credit toward your Social Security. So if you choose a plan to answer Scott's question, if you choose a plan during the annual election period and you need to change, absolutely you can change. As long as that was the last enrollment you did was during the AEP, you have that one option during OEP, January 1st to March 31st, to make that final change. And then you're in it for the entire of 2022. And yes, absolutely, the give back programs are available during this OEP, this open enrollment period. Absolutely.
All right, so when we put everything into perspective about what we've talked about today, Gary, what do you want our audience to gain out of what we've discussed?
I want them to understand that they're not stuck in their plan if they feel like they made the wrong choice during that annual election period. A lot of people don't know that this OEP exists, and their agents don't tell them. Every one of my customers know. And the reason why I make sure they know, because I want my customers to know all of their options, not just some of their options. Okay. And if they feel that they made it, now here's the thing: if you have a good agent, chances are they won't need to change during the open enrollment period. If you have a good agent and your agent's done a good enough job identifying the best plan for you based on the doctors, your specialists, the hospitals that you go to, if your agent did a good enough job, chances are you won't need to make that change during OEP. But absolutely, all my clients know that they absolutely have the right to change if they feel that for whatever reason, I don't care what reason it is, if they just simply want to change because they don't like their current company, they can change during this open enrollment period. I would say the best reason to change, though, would be if your doctor no longer accepts your plan and you need that doctor to accept your Medicare Advantage plan. That's probably the best reason to change. But the other is to take advantage of this give back program. Because again, who doesn't need $100 or $100 a month credited so that they don't get hit for that full $170 a month on their out of their Social Security payment? So absolutely take advantage of this OEP. And if your agent didn't tell you about these give back programs, absolutely feel free to call me. I'd be more than happy to tell you if they're available in your area. And again, the number to reach me on is 561-305-5949. Again, that's 561-305-5949. You can call me, you can text me. My phone's on 24/7. You need to know what your options are. That's the takeaway here, Scott. Consumers need to understand that they have options that they may not have been aware of.
All right, so Gary, why don't you give everybody a preview of what we're going to be working on for the next show?
So for the next show, we're going to do a podcast about the annual enrollment period for Obamacare, because I do Obamacare as well. I've been doing that for 9 years. I'm happy to say that this will be the 5th year in a row that I'll have achieved the Award of Excellence, the Elite Circle of Champions Award, which is given to an agent and issued by the Department of Health and Human Services. So that's our expertise here at medigapx.com. We're specialists in both Medicare and health insurance. So feel free to call me for anything health insurance or Medicare related.
Okay, Gary, any closing thoughts?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well. And again, our next podcast regarding Obamacare open enrollment should be very enlightening. And I'm looking forward to doing that podcast as well, Scott. I'll mention one last thing, and that was that the government did extend the open enrollment period to January 15th, which gave a lot of folks the ability to, I call them the stragglers that were, that may have forgotten or just didn't get to sign up by December 15th. They did extend that to January 15th. That just ended 2 days ago. So now that's it. You're in your Obamacare plan, your ACA plan until December 31st. Of course, if you qualify for special enrollment, that could be an opportunity to change. Feel free to call me and to discuss whether or not you do qualify for special enrollments, because there are special enrollments with respect to Obamacare, which is the Affordable Care Act, as well as Medicare. So both of these segments have these special enrollments. So during these blackout periods, we call them, which is the in-between time, right? You still may have a special enrollment provision that you may be able to take advantage of. But you need to speak to an agent about that.
Well, very good. All right, just to give you an overview, folks. Okay, my name is Scott Morganroth. I am the CEO and publisher of the South Florida Tribune. We have an online publication, www.southfloridatribune.com. All of our shows are simulcast through YouTube, our YouTube channel. Okay, so please subscribe to that. You can hear them on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and wherever you get your podcasts. I encourage all prospective business owners to give me a call at 954-304-4941, 954-304-4941. If you're looking for a good way to promote your business, we certainly have a very good vehicle to do so. For all you insurance reps that may want to also promote your independent lines, we do that as well. And for any business owner perspective, for all you consumers, we certainly have a lot of different shows, including Gary's, of course, where you'll definitely be able to gain some entertainment information and whatnot, as in terms of the cutting edge of our platform. So meanwhile, we're very proud to have Gary as a major part of this program, and we look forward to not only entertaining you, but helping you promote your business as well. So meanwhile, folks, we want to thank you for joining us on this edition of the South Florida Tribune podcast. And until the next time, folks, have yourself a great day, and we will catch you the next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Take care, everyone.